Hello there. You know what one of my favorite movies is? Kung Fu Panda 1 and Kung Fu Panda 2. There are two movies about a fat panda who no one believes can do anything, but inevitably saves the world or China. So yeah, what isn't there to love about those movies? But more than that, I can take from those movies some media therapy, as I'll call it from here on. Now, when I say media therapy, I am not saying that I'm an expert in this thing. I'm just a crazy person that you clicked on, and I'm telling you how I use this to help me in therapeutic ways. So, I'll first start off with Kung Fu Panda 1. There's so much to love about it, from the animation to the characters and all of that. And what I will be talking about mainly comes from the character Uwe, and of course it would, because who doesn't like Uwe? He's this wise old tortoise who is awesome at kung fu and everything like that. One of the things is that Uwe as well as Po are positive characters, and that's just something to live by, really. Just be positive in life. One of the ways that Uguay does this by is being mindful. There's this great scene where Shifu is summoned by Uguay, and Shifu comes in the palace to see Uguay meditating with loads of candles. And when Shifu gets Uguay's attention, he steps down. When Uguay steps down, he starts blowing out the candles one by one. And Shifu instead blows out all of the candles all at once. Now, I would like to be that type of person who steps down and blows a candle out one by one. The mindful technique that I use is based off of breathe in the flowers and blow out the candles. Or candle. Breathe in the flowers, blow out the candle. Another great thing about Kung Fu Panda is the idea of control. I was recently shown a little diagram of things that are in our control, and almost everything that is in our control is to do with ourselves. How we react to things, how we remember them, how we think about it, that sort of stuff. And everything else is out of our control. Igwe talks about control as if it is an illusion, and in some ways it is. He goes on about how you cannot control when this peach tree bears fruit or blossoms, and you cannot control whether this peach tree gives you an apple or an orange. With the illusion of control, another great quote from Uguay is that there are no accidents. When I think of accidents, is that accidents is just a way of saying something is out of our control. Accepting the illusion of control, there are no accidents then. Another great scene of Uwe referring to mindfulness is when he talks to Shifu and he says that your mind is like this unsettled water, always rippling through and that sort of stuff. But when you let it settle down, the answer becomes clear. And that is what mindfulness is, being mindful of everything around you while being calm about it. Another thing that Uguay says that connects to mindfulness is the quote about news. There is no bad news, there is only news. And this is one belief in mindfulness, that everything that happens, we associate good or bad with them, but in reality, good and bad is just what we think of that. Now, with my mindful technique, what I try to do is I associate good with everything, and when everything is good, nothing is good. Another great scene is when Shifu is asking Uguay to help train Po. Uguay says no to giving Shifu help. And what I take from this is that there's a great saying that if you want to help others, you have to help yourself first. one way to connect that to this scene is that the best person to help you is yourself. With my research project, I'm at a point where I can do the things on my own, and I don't feel like I'm always asking for help. And the fact that I am able to do it on my own helps me feel much better and gives me more confidence in everything. Another great scene actually comes from Shifu, and this is when Po is asking how can Shifu teach him, and Shifu eventually says, I don't know. And what's significant about this scene, this shows Shifu, who is usually someone who is very uptight, he becomes vulnerable. There is power in being vulnerable in yourself. Being vulnerable to yourself is being mindful that you are not perfect, that you have flaws, and and a lot of times the first step to changing something is to acknowledge that something needs to be changed. Also, more to the vulnerability, being vulnerable to yourself opens you to the world, to helping you. The final thing about the movie Kung Fu Panda with regards to media therapy is the topic of belief. This movie, from the start, refers to belief. When Mr. Ping says to Po that he's almost ready to know the secret ingredients of the secret ingredient noodle soup. At the end, we learn that that secret ingredient is nothing. The only secret ingredient there is in believing that the soup is greater than it really is. And the same thing goes with the dragon scroll. There turns out to be nothing on it, just blank paper that's reflective. And Poe realizes that all he has to do is believe that he is special, and then he'll be the dragon warrior. Believing in yourself is powerful in that you believe that you can do anything, really. There is also a little bit of this in Kung Fu Panda 3 when Po trains all of the other pandas. He isn't training them in strictly Kung Fu, he's training them in becoming more of themselves. That's how Shifu trains Po even. Another thing about belief as well as mindfulness is the quote that Oogway said that yesterday is history, tomorrow is mystery, but today is gift. That is why it's called the present. And with mindfulness, what you're trying to be is you're trying to be mindful of the present, mindful of everything that is going on. And now I want to talk about Kung Fu Panda 2. This one is my favorite out of the Kung Fu Panda series, and the reason why that is probably because I'm adopted. Kung Fu Panda 2 goes on about a story about how Po is trying to identify himself from his past. One of the things that I really like about this movie is the juxtaposition of Po and Lord Shen. These are two beings who both were abandoned by their parents and are no longer able to connect with those parents. In both of their cases, these were acts of love. In Lord Shen's, his parents abandoned him because a soothsayer told them to, and they died because of the love that they had for Lord Shen and not being able to be with him anymore. In Poe's case, we have a panda who is abandoned as a baby out of love so that he could have a better future for himself. What's really interesting about this movie is that, again, we have two beings that kind of have the same past, yet how they go about their present differs. In Lord Shen's case, we have someone who is so consumed in the past and isn't able to let it go, and that consumes their presence as well as their future. It controls everything that they do. In Poe's case, we have someone who is saddened by their past, but accepts their past, and from that acceptance is able to move on. Acceptance kind of goes hand in hand with belief. But acceptance is another way of being mindful of what has happened to you. And accepting the past can be difficult for many people, such as myself, as I've gone through quite a lot in the past. But one thing that I like to think about is that the past does not define you. How you react to the past is what defines you. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about Kung Fu Panda and Kung Fu Panda 2. I want to end this video off with a small little mindful technique / meditation. So follow along if you want to. Just breathe in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. In with the flowers, out with the candles, and close your eyes, or leave them open. Now think of everything that has happened to you in the past, or something that's happened to you in the past. Think about how it affects you. And then accept that that thing has happened and that is out of your control. Now think of the future. Do you have any plans or anything like that? How does it feel? Think about it. Happiness, maybe? Now accept that the future is beyond this time right now, and all you can do is just focus on the present. Now think of the present. Think of what you have, what's around you. Think of everything that's going on. Just be mindful of it. And if your mind feels too unsettled, return to the breath. And now accept that the present is a gift. Accept that you can do anything with the present. And you can return. So yeah, that's again my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda, Kung Fu Panda 2, a little bit of Kung Fu Panda 3, and a little mindful technique. Let me know what you thought of this. Please like, share, subscribe, comments, etc. You can follow me on Instagram. And until next time, have a great day.